Hey everybody, welcome back. In today's video, I want to have a look at the crypto market and sort of Bitcoin in particular over these last few days, ever since the news that GrayScale won their lawsuit against the SEC over their Bitcoin ETF. Now, looking into it, we can see BTC is still relatively strong compared. I mean, we did have this huge sell-off. This is the daily chart, by the way. Bitcoin did have this huge sell-off about 2 weeks ago, a week ago. Sort of sat at this lower levels. This is when we had this sort of scare and everyone was saying, including myself, okay, we're going to see much lower lows now. And then the news about the ETF came out and the market pumped, including Bitcoin, quite a bit. We went right back up to 28k basically. And then we closed the day at the high 27,000s basically. And then last few days we've been dropping down and we're just about to hit this 27,000 level. For Bitcoin, I do think this literally is just a lower high here, basically. And I mean, I doubt it'll play out exactly like this, but it's going to keep following that sort of a trend, whether it's as harsh or whether it's much more of a nice, gradual, slow trend that we just have for the rest of the year. I think we are still seeing more pain for BTC. I want to switch over to the dominance though. We did a video not too long ago, excuse me. Let me zoom out here. We did a video literally a few days ago explaining that once Bitcoin broke above this line, I think it won't drop below. When we had this big rally the other day, Bitcoin rocketed above this line again, and we saw that we came down. I basically said, we're going to get rejected here. I thought we were going to get rejected, and we had a little bounce, but you know, we were still basically at this line. I mean, we were 0.15% above it. That means nothing really, but we've now had a significant pump and we're about 8% above this line, which is significant. And you can see these last few days the dominance hasn't really lost too much. I mean, we've lost a bit, sure, where Bitcoin's price has gone down, but ultimately it's performed much better than the whole altcoin market in the last few days. And because of this, it's put it up back up to this sort of 50% level now that we're about to reach. We're not too far away at all. And I see us sort of climbing up again and definitely going to, definitely going up to possibly a 60% towards the end of the year. January time, we could be up here, in my opinion. If I just draw a cheeky, very makeshift line here, it doesn't really fit very well. But we can see it's sort of going in that direction. And if we bring it up to November, up to 60%, roughly following this line, that lines up with about December time. Again, going back to Bitcoin, I want to show you, we'll put in ADA now, USD. We can see that in comparison, this is the daily of course as well, ADA has gone right back down to where it was literally a few days ago. So everyone who's hyping up over this big GrayScale, this is the bull run, whatever, like there always is. It was the same with Ripple when they won their lawsuit, or partially won it, whatever. And then so on, it always comes back down. Now, I do hear a lot of people saying, well, this basically means that BlackRock and all these other investment companies now have no reason for their ETF to get rejected. And this is pretty true. It does basically mean that Bitcoin is getting an ETF in America, probably by multiple investment bodies. And while I do think this is very bullish, first of all, the SEC doesn't have to approve these things until, I think it's the end of the year, basically. So it can be December until they actually say yes or no for any of them. Do I think they'll do that? Possibly. I'm not too sure. I tend not to focus too much on these social events, if you get me, that can and cannot cause big pumps, especially with America. I know they influence price of a lot of things, but in the long term, it's just going to be a wick or a dump that will just play out in the narrative of the grand scheme of things, like this. I couldn't tell you what caused this sell-off here, or this sell-off, or this sell-off, and in a year I won't be able to tell you what caused this pump that happened 2 days ago. It'll be insignificant. And again, I feel like we're going to have a lot of news that's good, but ultimately it won't change the narrative of a bull run until we see Bitcoin sort of dominance climb, basically. Dominance needs to go higher so that it can bring us into a bull run, so that altcoins can then reclaim their dominance back by, 10, 20xing into the next market. Another one I have a look at, so I just want to show you, sorry, I should have done Ethereum first, but I wanted to show you sort of an altcoin where basically nothing has happened. It's literally been nothing. Bitcoin, where something has happened, the price has gone up, and although it's come down a bit, it's still up, even though I do ultimately think it's going to come down in the short term. Now let's have a look at Ethereum. So I actually don't know, I'm not quite sure what those are from, but anyway, we can see here that excuse me, auto fit. I'm going to get rid of these lines because they're a bit annoying. You can see that Bitcoin also had a pump. Sorry, not Bitcoin. Ethereum had a pump, and it's looking very similar to Bitcoin, but we can see the pump wasn't as high, and also the sell-off was a tiny little bit more. If I put on my moving averages, which I think is useful, this is for the daily. Ethereum is below its daily. If we move to the weekly, Ethereum is only just above its weekly, but it's struggling here. You know what I mean? It's like it bounced off it here. It's obviously climbed above it today, but it's on this line. If we go to Bitcoin, we can see Bitcoin is actually slightly below its weekly, and it's dropped below. This is what we said. As long as we keep consistent weekly closes below the moving average, we're not in a bull run. No way. And, since the beginning of this year, we sort of climbed up above, and now we've dropped down below. And I think we're going to stay below for the rest of the year, more or less. In fact, no, I think we are. I think we're going to stay below. Whether we come down to much lower levels of 22,000, whether we just stay around at the 25,000. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. Go check out my Bitcoin video that I did a few days if you want a more in-depth thought on that. But basically, we've dropped down below this. We wicked above, we got rejected, and now we're, quite a bit below the Bitcoin weekly moving average. If we check Bitcoin on the daily, we can see it's the same sort of thing. Bitcoin's been rejected here. It's dropped down below. It's put in lower lows again today, just confirming that it's moving away from this moving average. And yeah. Anyway, if you like the video, guys, I just wanted to do a quick one to sort of update people on what's happening with GrayScale and the markets. Bitcoin's doing well, going down. Ethereum's doing slightly worse, even though ultimately it is above its moving average. I don't think it'll stay above there for much long. And altcoins have literally, it might not as well have happened, it was a pump, a fart in the wind, it's right back to where it was a few days ago. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys. Take care and peace.